We are going to start with Lily's piece. So everyone else can sort of go away. And I want to welcome Lily to the stage to discuss her work.
Thank you, Ms. Krantz. So hello, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Lily, and I'm a part of Ms. Krantz's directing class this semester. Today, I'm going to be putting on the show When the Rain Stops Falling by Andrew Bovell. The original runtime of the show is quite long, over 2 hours, so today we will only be performing select scenes from this show. But since I want to make sure you all, my lovely audience, understand and get the most out of this show, I wanted to quickly share with all of you guys a summary of the show and a quick rundown of the characters. So I'm going to do that by quickly sharing my screen with you and showing you a presentation that I made earlier in the semester. So, my show, as I mentioned before, is called When the Rain Stops Falling. It's by Andrew Bovell. And so, When the Rain Stops Falling is a multi-generational story taking place from the year 1959 to the year 2039. And the location shifts between the Coorong, a coastal stretch of land in Australia, Adelaide, and London. The pasts and relationships of Bovell's characters are shown non-linearly, making the story that much more powerful. In 22 scenes, the reader begins to understand how mistakes from one's ancestors can still be felt years later, and how we, as human beings, connect with one another. Employing the techniques of magical realism and a nonlinear plotline, and emphasizing universal themes, such as abandonment and forgiveness, Andrew Bovell successfully demonstrates the complexity of the human experience. So this show has many characters shown in a family tree here, but in the scenes that I'm going to be showing you guys, there's only 5 of them. We're only going to see the 3 characters highlighted in yellow: Gabriel, Gabrielle, and Joe. And then the character highlighted in purple, another Gabriel, he's briefly mentioned, but he is not actually a character that I'm going to be showing you. And I also very quickly wanted to mention to you guys why I wanted to do this show. So last year, around wintertime, I read a bunch of shows during winter break. And this show really stood out to me for the reasons that I showed in my synopsis. The fact that it was a multi-generational story that was so complex and so layered. I thought it was really, really beautifully written. It's Andrew Bovell's most famous work. He's won multiple awards for it because he writes so beautifully, and the story comes together in a really unique way. But it just really caught my eye, and I absolutely fell in love with the piece. So without further ado, I would like Isa to begin with stage directions.
When the Rain Stops Falling, written by Andrew Bovell and directed by Lily Mikolajczak. Joe Ryan and Gabrielle York's room, Adelaide, 2013.
Where?
She closes the umbrella and hangs it on the hook.
By the door, hanging up your umbrella.
Am I? I thought I was by the window, scratching my bum.
She removes her raincoat and hangs it on a hook beside the umbrella.
I lost my hat.
Terrible weather.
Did you get wet?
I had my umbrella.
You've been out.
I went for a walk.
Where to?
Still, there are people drowning.
What?
In Bangladesh. There are people drowning in Bangladesh.
Are there?
It's just what people say, Joe. A figure of speech.
I've never heard it.
Is that lightning? Did you see it?
No.
Listen.
Sure enough, a rumble of thunder. She moves to the window.
I hate nights like this. When I was a kid, they would frighten me. Still do. On nights like this, ships are lost at sea.
There's soup in the pot?
She takes a bowl and a spoon and fills the bowl with soup from a large pot on the stove.
It's fish. They say it's good for you. Good for the brain. Not sure what it does exactly, but they say we should have it 3 times a week at least. Not sure I could eat it that often, but I thought it was worth a try.
Joe places the bowl of soup on the table.
Did Gabriel call?
No, love.
Are you sure? He might have left a message.
I've checked. There's no message. Come and have some soup.
What kind of soup?
Fish.
She moves to the table, takes a place, and proceeds to eat her soup.
Somebody said it's very good for you. Good for the brain. You should have it 3 times a week or something.
That's right.
Tastes like the sea.
She moves to the window and looks out.
What's happening to me, Joe?
Nothing, love. You're wandering a bit, that's all. You're not sure if it's today or tomorrow or yesterday. And who can blame you for that? They're all much the same.
Hold my hand.
Joe takes her hand.
I won't have it. You're not to hold on forever.
I have to go out for a bit. See if I can find that hat.
What hat?
I lost my hat.
Terrible weather.
Did you get wet?
I had my umbrella.
You've been out.
Went for a walk.
Where to?
The shops.
What for?
Cigarettes.
You don't smoke.
I do.
You do not.
I bloody do.
Well, I didn't know.
Well, there are a lot of things you don't know. A lot of things about me. Parts of me that you don't know.
I should find that hat.
She takes her raincoat and umbrella.
I won't be long.
She exits.
There are parts of me you've never touched.
Gabriel Law enters and Gabrielle exits. And we're in a roadhouse on the Kerrang, 1988. Gabriel sees Gabrielle at the window.
Hello.
Shit! You frightened me.
I'm sorry.
Where did you come from?
I just pulled up. I'm driving through the Kerrang.
What for?
To see it, I suppose. Terrible weather. Still, there are people drowning in Bangladesh, so we shouldn't complain.
You're English.
Yes. Is that all right?
A tourist?
Of sorts.
Are there
Are there...
people drowning in Bangladesh?
No, it's just a figure of speech. It's something my mother says. Though they often do, each monsoon. But they're not at the moment. At least I hope not.
Do you want something? To eat, I mean.
What have you got?
Soup?
What sort of soup?
Fish. You don't like fish soup?
The last time I had it, I threw up. I was on a bus going home after visiting my mother. It came without warning and with such force that it landed on a skinhead sitting on the seat in front of me. He had fish soup all through his mohawk, so he dragged me into the aisle and beat the crap out of me. Not one person stood up to help. They all looked the other way, even the driver. But that's London for you. I'm not sure what caused me to be so ill. The fish soup or seeing my mother.
That's not a very nice thing to say about your mother.
It's a complicated relationship.
I can do you a toasted sandwich if you like.
I would, thank you. Tomato and cheese.
You don't want ham?
No,
You sure?
I'm vegetarian. What?
I'll get your sandwich.
And do you have a room?
How long are you staying?
Not sure. A day or two?
I'll have to make one up. We don't get people down here this time of year.
Why?
The weather.
But it's beautiful here.
Do you think?
Never seen anything like it.
I think it's the ugliest place in the world.
Did you grow up here?
Yes?
Then that's why. But if you look at it through the eyes of a stranger, you'll see what I see.
It's still just sandhills and water and bird shit on your car.
I come from London. I think that's the ugliest place in the world. Or if not the ugliest, it's certainly the loneliest.
You can walk down the beach here for 5 days and not see anyone.
I know. It's brilliant.
It's killing me.
Leave.
I'm going to.
As soon as you do, you'll want to come back.
I want to meet people.
You've met me,
What's your name?
Gabriel.
It's not.
It is. What's yours?
Gabrielle.
What are the chances of that?
Funny name for a bloke.
Do you think so?
It is down here.
It means strong man of God.
I thought it was French.
No, it's biblical. Gabriel was the archangel.
Are you an angel, Gabriel?
No, flesh and blood.
Were your parents religious?
My mother's an atheist. A communist once, I think, judging by her library. No, she just liked the name.
So did mine, but she thought it was French. Exotic. She wanted me to be different.
Are you different?
No. Not really. Maybe.
How?
You'll have to find out. I'll get your sandwich.
She turns to go. He doesn't want her to leave, ever.
Are yours religious? Your parents?
They were. Catholic.
Lapsed?
Dead.
Oh, right.
Mom drowned herself in the ocean when I was 7, and Dad put a bullet through his head 3 years ago. It's the place. Things like that happen here. That's why I have to get away. Take a seat. I'll get your sandwich.
Gabrielle exits as Gabriel takes his place at the table. And we are in a park, Adelaide, 2013. Joe enters.
By the sea. It's 1988. I'm 24 years old. I'm driving a Datsun 180B. I'm crossing the Hay Plain halfway between Sydney and Adelaide. I'm sitting on 110 Ks, but I'm itching to go faster. Itching to get home. But the cops are up and down this stretch, and I don't want to risk it. I'm heading back to my parents' farm on the Kerrong. I tried the city. It didn't work out. It's not for me. Too fast. Too sharp. The Kerrong's where I belong. Dad's wrapped. He'll be waiting at the gate pretending to fix a fence. Mom will be in the kitchen. She's not so sure. She doesn't think there's such a great future on the land. We've messed it up, she says. We've done the wrong thing. But nobody believes her. A visionary, my mom. Simple woman, but a visionary. So I'm sitting on 110, and this Ford passes me doing 140 at least. Idiot, I say. Idiot. Hate that. Hate getting passed. You're doing the right thing, and somebody passes, and it just makes you feel like you're 50 years old or something. Then 30 Ks out at Narrandera. I come around a bend, and there she is. The Ford. Wrapped around a tree with steam coming out of her bonnet. I pull over. I get out. I move towards the car. I don't want to look. There's blood on the windscreen. I bend down. The driver's mincemeat. But there's a girl in there, and she's moaning. There's blood all over her face. Hey! Hey, can you hear me? Her eyes open and she can see me. Just for a moment, she sees me. And then her eyes start to fade. I've seen sheep die. I've seen dogs die. I've seen my grandma die. I know that look. So I reach in and grab her hand. Hey! Wake up! Stay with me! And her eyes flick open and I feel a faint pressure of her hand holding mine back. I've got you, I say. I'm holding on. I've got you. Christ, where's the help? Where's the siren? Why aren't there any fucking cars on this highway? And she's quiet. Too quiet. And I squeeze her hand hard. I squeeze it so hard. I'm not letting you go. And I see her lips move. She's trying to say something. I try and get as close as I can. Get right in there, into the twisted metal of it. What is it? What are you trying to say? And she says really quietly, "You're hurting my hand." And I laughed. Probably not the right thing to do. I mean, there's some bloke dead beside her, but it was the relief, you know? I knew she was going to make it. So I ease up the pressure a little bit, but I keep holding on. "What's your name?" I say. "Gabrielle." "What?" "Gabrielle. It's biblical," she says. And I know she's safe, this Gabrielle, but I'm holding on. I'm still holding on.
Joe exits. And we are in a graveyard on the Quran, 1988. Gabrielle stands before 3 headstones.
Georgia York, née Bray, 1940 to 1971. Beloved wife and mother. She wore a frock well and looked good when she smoked a cigarette. Peter James York, 1939 to 1985. He had a slight stoop and a crooked smile. I never thought he was good enough. Glenn Peter York, 1960 to 1968. He built sandcastles on the beach.
Gabriel Law enters.
There you are.
You're going?
Yes, I'm all packed.
Where will you go?
To the center. Isn't that what you call it?
It's another country out there.
Gabriel joins her at the graves. He reads the headstones.
Your brother was only 8.
7. He hadn't turned 8 yet.
We were born in the same year. I'm not him.
I know that.
It's a coincidence.
I know.
Were you close?
There's a photo of us on the beach. He's holding my hand, but I don't remember him. It's like your father. I remember him because he wasn't there.
What happened to him, Gabrielle?
They found his shoe on the beach. They thought the sea had taken him. That's what they hoped. Then a fisherman found his clothes in the sandhills. Shorts, t-shirt, underpants. Eventually they found his bones. They'd been uncovered by the wind. Buried in a shallow grave.
Are you saying he was murdered?
That's what sent my mother over the edge. What had been done to him. At least Dad had the decency to wait until I finished school and had a job. He was dead anyway, of course. He died the day Glenn was taken, and then he died again the day Mum went. But he saw me through, more or less. Kind of half there. But Mum couldn't wait. She didn't think the child that was left was worth it. They're cruel, aren't they? Parents? They're so fucking cruel.
They are silent.
I wasn't sure I could trust you. I was pretending to be strong. Then, last night on the beach, I realized I'm not the only one.
Come with me.
Don't. I'm not just some girl you meet in a roadhouse who you hook up with for a couple of months before you piss off back to London. I'm not that girl.
I know that. And I'm not that boy.
What's the good of it, you and me? We're too different.
We have the same name. Is this going to be your life? Working in a roadhouse and getting the occasional shag from a passing tourist?
She stares at the headstones.
Let the dead take care of the dead.
I can't.
The car's parked over there. I'll turn on the radio and listen to one song. When the song finishes, I'll leave.
He exits.
You're 24 years old. You work in a roadhouse in the Kerrang. You play netball on Tuesday nights and clean the bird shit from the headstones of the graves of your family on Sunday. You know that if you don't leave here soon, you will marry a farmer from Salt Creek. He'll be a good guy who works hard and likes a beer. He will love you, and you will make his life hell because that's not the life you want. You will go mad in that life. But you don't know what other life there is. Then this man, this stranger, walks into the roadhouse in the middle of winter, all the way from London, and orders a toasted sandwich with no ham, and talks about things that they don't talk about in the Quran. He says, "Let the dead take care of the dead." And now he's sitting in the car with the engine running, listening to a song on the radio. And you know the song. You know it well. You know the last verse has just begun. You know the words, you could sing them, and when it's done, you know you'll hear the press of tires on the gravel, and he will be gone, and you may as well start looking for your wedding dress. You want to go. You want to run. You want to leave these ghosts behind, but you're scared. In your stomach, in the pit of your stomach, you know that there is something wrong and that you should not get in that car. Wait, Gabriel! Let the dead take care of the dead.
Jo stands at the door in her pajamas.
Who are you talking to, love?
And we are in Jo and Gabrielle's room, Adelaide, 2013.
Myself.
Come back to bed. Gabby?
My name's not Gabby. It's Gabrielle. It's biblical.
She looks at him.
Who are you again?
It's Jo, love. Your wife.
Jo,
Yes, love?
I want you to go. Did you hear what I said? I want you to go.
You don't mean that.
Yes, I do.
No!
You're a liar.
Being turfed out of the flat on an ugly night in the middle of winter tests the patience a little. But there's not one day I regret being with you. Not one. And don't you say a word to contradict that, because I know what I feel. And I know that you can't say the same. I stole you. I know that. Got you at a weak moment. You needed someone, and I made sure it was me. One thing you've got to give me credit for, though, is my patience. I've waited 25 years for you to love me.
And now I'm losing my mind. I'm angry, Jo. Always have been.
I know.
No, you don't. The only time I ever saw you angry was when you hit your thumb with a hammer, and you didn't even swear.
No! Well, I don't like language. It was just the way I was brought up. Can't help that.
Sometimes I wish you would just scream.
I don't know what that would achieve.
It would tell the world that you are in pain.
I'm not sure the world would care. I wish I'd never stopped the car. Yeah, there you go. I've said it. I wish I'd just put my foot down and let you bleed to death. With him. I would have made it back to the Karong and met some half-decent girl who would have loved me.
I have loved you.
Not the way I have loved you.
You love too much.
Oh, don't say that to me. Because there are some women in Salt Creek who would have known how to be loved by me. And don't tell me you're angry. Who do you think you've been angry at for 25 years? Huh? Loyal old Joe, that's who. Like a dog. That's what I am. And why? Because I saved you. Because I never measured up to something I never even understood. But don't you dare measure me against him. 25 years it's been. Against what? A couple of weeks, if that? I have raised his son and lived with his ashes in the cupboard for 25 years. And you're wrong. I've been angry every day of my life since I met you. I've been angry at myself for being unable to make you happy. And I'm not the only one who tried.
Don't.
You made my life hell. But what's worse? You did the same to your son.
No.
It's true, Gabrielle. In the end, the boy couldn't wait to leave.
Did he call?
No.
I thought that maybe...
No. He hasn't called for 7 years.
They're cruel, aren't they? Children. They're so fucking cruel.
Silence.
I've had enough.
Come on, then.
No, love. I want you to let me go. There are pills in my bedside drawer.
No.
Help me do this.
I can't.
I'm going anyway. A month, 2, 6 at the most, and then I'm gone. I won't know who you are. I won't know who Gabriel is. I won't even know who I am.
You're asking too much.
I always have. It's only life. And I've had a miserable one, and I've had enough of it. This goes way back, Joe. Way before you. It was your bad luck that you stopped the car, but you did, and that's your lot. But mine goes way back to a little kid playing on the beach. And the bastard that took him. That's all. Not your fault. Not my fault. But I've had enough now, Joe. I have seen death every way, and I'm not afraid of it. Take me home now. Make love to me, you big, gorgeous thing.
Gorgeous?
Yeah, I've always thought so. You've been all right in the sack, too. At first, it was like you were shearing and I was the sheep. But you got better, Joe. Over the years, you got better. You learnt such tenderness. But it's been a while. Can't remember the last time.
It was 2010. 3 years ago.
Christ! I want clean sheets and candles and music. And when we're finished, I want you to let me go.
What am I going to do without you?
I don't know, love. Go back to the Karong. Find that woman in Salt Creek. She's probably still there.
They proceed to exit.
I love being in a car at night.
End of scenes.
Awesome. Yes, feel free to unmute yourself and clap. That was beautiful. Wow.
Seriously, I'm tearing up.
That's a roller coaster. Yeah. Beautiful choice of a play, Lily. The whole play is, like I said, poetry. It's such a find. But the way that you chose these scenes, the whole play is so complicated and layered and emotional, and yet you gave us a whole story by the way that you chose this and wove it together. So thank you for that. How do you feel?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I feel great. Oh my gosh. I like I said before, like every time I like hear this play, like even when I was like reading by myself, even like when I'm in rehearsals, it's like I fall in love with the language, and it's just like, I don't know. It makes me feel so, it makes me feel so many emotions, and I love when a piece of theater does that.
Yes. And what's amazing is that everyone was feeling that. I don't know how much people were looking at the chat box, but if you scroll through there, like everyone was feeling all the emotions. So yeah, feel free. We're gonna have a quick talk back session now. So anyone is welcome to open up their video, unmute themselves, make a comment verbally or in the chat box. But this is a great time to give some feedback or ask any questions that you want to the director or the actors.
I have a question. I know that this was a very long show, right? And I know that you chose like very specific tidbits and scenes and points. What made you choose those specific scenes? Like, I thought they were very powerful together, but I feel like in a long show you could have chosen like so many different combinations. Like, how'd you choose these?
Yeah, sure. So my answer is going to be a little bit long-winded. So part of it was for the original directing project, we only could work with the characters, with the actors that we had in class. So I knew that, since I couldn't do the entire show, I wanted to create the effect of a story and keep the nonlinear plot line, because I could have done it like chronologically, but I wanted to tell the story like Andrew Bovell does it. So like take the, kind of make it nonlinear. But I wanted to take just a couple of characters and really focus on them. So and the other thing is too, sorry, this is super tangential. I really wanted to kind of explore the relationships too. So I kind of, instead of doing a mixture of scenes with a bunch of different characters, I wanted to more deeply explore the relationships between just the three. And so I went through the script and I found what I thought were the most important moments in the sort of dynamics of these characters. And so I chose those 5 scenes to do that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great explanation, and yeah, a very hard challenge that you took on there. It's a meaty, intense play, and this was gorgeous. Any other questions or comments that people have? How about from the actors? How was this to go to the places that you went in such a short time and bring so many different, like I made a comment like that at one point, every single emotion I could name crossed Vicky's face within a span of like 60 seconds. So what was that like to go to these places and feel all these things so intensely? Vicky?
Well, I feel like for me, I made different acting choices during this show, especially with like the facial expressions. So when we did it earlier, it was a little different. Like the delivery, especially in the last scene, it was more hurtful saying it tonight than it was earlier. And I didn't expect it to be as hurtful, but like as I was saying it, I was like, ooh, this hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about you, Tess? Because you were on a roller coaster and you were going from huge gaps in like who you were as a character, as a person at the time.
Yeah. It's a time, but I think if there's something about Gabrielle that really links her together, there's definitely a big spectrum of emotion that she feels over this. But even when she's trying to flirt with Gabriel, and all of a sudden she's talking about how both her parents killed herself, because that's the kind of person she is. To me, Gabrielle is the kind of person who has a hard time being happy, and she has a hard time letting the past go. And so although she experiences a spectrum of emotion, I feel like that's always there. And that's something that was kind of grounding in keeping her character consistent, at least in my head. I don't know how it came out.
Yeah, no, that actually really resonates with how it came out, and what a great choice to have that like rooted as a personality choice that you could see had never really healed or come to a place of reconciliation inside her. I think we definitely got that from you. Awesome.
Thanks.
And Alex, it was commented too about your reactions and the way that you had to listen to Gabrielle. And how was that? How was that experience of hearing this and responding to it in the moment?
So like I've read the whole show because I read it last year, like Lily did too. But every time like we've run the show, I tried to not think ahead to like what's coming, just trying to react in the moment. Like even though I knew what was coming, I would forget about it each time so that my facial expression showed like how I would react to that in that moment. Because I kind of put a bit of myself into Gabriel, where he seems like he's quite like in the moment and kind of spontaneous. So like he doesn't think things through sometimes. So that was a big part of also like reacting on the spot.
Well, awesome job doing that. Mr. Irving?
Yeah, I've been just struck by the leaps and bounds people have made as actors through this whole process. And maybe it is seeing the facial expressions in the way you don't often see them on stage. But in this contained form, I've been, all you guys, it's just been so impressive.
Yeah, the vulnerability and the just the how present you need to be to what you're doing here, and that it can come across through Zoom to people who are watching on a computer or iPad. It's amazing. Yeah, you are all developing exceptional skills that then you put this immediacy and this presence and this generosity of acting onto a stage, which eventually we'll be able to do again. I know you'll all get there. It's a whole other level of communicating with each other. It's really impressive. Anyone else have something they want to share? Oh, yeah.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. Great job tonight. Ran into this, of course, late as always, and I did not know what to expect, but holy smokes, roller coaster of emotions. Just listening and watching, not understanding everything around it, but just listening and watching what was in front of me. Yeah, I felt it all. So great job. It was, this was much more emotion than I expected tonight. But proud of you all. It really was wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful job, everyone. Excellent. Great way to launch the evening. So thank you, Lily, and thank you, everybody involved. And so at this point, perfect timing, we're gonna take 10, and then we will return and have Tyla's piece. So let us return here at 7:58, and that'll get us launched right at 8 for Tyla. All right. Take 10, everyone.